welcome back to the For the Badge podcast. We got Lewis, he's come back, and Patrick is back for some more punishment as well. You know what time it is? It's still the World Cup. We're loving it, and we are going to go ahead and get started with today's matches. Which one do you think is the biggest surprise, the biggest shock?
I'm going to go with Costa Rica just because of how bad they looked against Spain, and then finding a way today. I mean, that was the biggest shock for me today.
Absolutely not expect that.
For me, even though this is the low-hanging fruit, I'm going to go with Morocco, even though Belgium hasn't looked good at all. I think that Morocco could have beaten them by more. And I think that's what makes it more surprising, because it's not like Belgium doesn't have quality in the player. It looks like there's a lack of either motivation or structure. And that means that what makes that more sad is that Belgium still can carry on if they win their next game. But do they want to?
Yeah, I mean, Croatia looked mean today, and that's who they're playing. And Croatia needs it. I love that Morocco won. It blows that group wide open. And I think it's crazy. It's crazy to me that Belgium have been so bad. It's nuts that they have a 2 ranking in the world. The guys on Fox were saying that they lack an identity. They didn't really seem to know what to do. And we were saying just a minute ago as well, it's interesting when you switch up, the people around De Bruyne and around Hazard, they struggle a little bit more. I mean, and that makes sense, but I feel like they've both been ghosts in both of these games.
Yeah, I mean, I was watching a little bit of the Morocco game this morning, and Hazard and De Bruyne were never on the same page. I mean, it was horrible, and as great as De Bruyne is, and he is, I mean, he looked really pedestrian today, and it's because there's like no one there to feed the ball to. Like, I mean, he's just whipping in crosses into the box to absolutely no one. And, you kept on waiting for, some of that magic to happen, and it never did. And truthfully, Morocco outplayed them. And like you said, Lewis, it could have been even worse. I thought that Thibaut Courtois played horribly. He seemed unsure on especially the first one, which was not counting. But then the second one was almost just like the first one, and I don't know if he lost the ball or what, but it looked like the Thibaut Courtois before he left to go to Real Madrid.
Back in the Chelsea days. Yeah, that's tough to get beat on the near post like that. That's rough for sure.
Well, I looked at that goal, and in the disallowed goal and the one that scored was the first one. Witsel was there both times, who I don't really rate. They play him, I guess, as an 8, but I don't really rate him as a defensive midfielder. But both times he was just standing there looking. And if it's me, and this is where I think the criticism is fair, but it's also kind of understandable why they play differently. Courtois is probably used to a solid 8, like, I don't know, Kroos, that would have stepped in. Like, Witsel watched the man go by, and he didn't do anything. I guess he thought the keeper was going to get it, but why would the keeper go out? Because if he misses, then the goal is going to be scored anyways, and he saw him go past. So in both occasions, it was the same person in front of him that led to that. Now, should he have saved them? I think so. But he was, I guess you could say, he's a little unsighted, or he was confused about what his defender would do. As far as De Bruyne and Hazard, I think De Bruyne is too nice to say this on the field because of the perception that he has publicly, because he has this nice guy perception or persona. But first, Hazard still being the captain of the team, I understand him being on the team, but he probably shouldn't be the captain. I think that's the first step. If he wasn't the captain, I think De Bruyne probably would have allowed his personality to take over a little more and you would have seen a closer to Manchester City De Bruyne, because you can see when he plays club football and he's the captain on the field, he's more vocal. He's not vocal with Belgium at all. He's just kind of like, okay, I'm good. And you have to think in his mind, uh, he's not rated as high as Hazard, and Hazard hasn't been quality for at least 3 seasons. And De
Nope.
Bruyne finished third in the Ballon d'Or this year. And so
Yeah.
De Bruyne is like, hey man, by votes, I'm the third best player in the world, and you're still following this guy who doesn't have pace anymore, and he's injury prone. So at that point, when you say it lacks direction, is because the guy that probably should be the leader hasn't been elevated to the leader, and because he doesn't want to cause a fuss, he doesn't do anything, which is his fault. But at the same time, I think he's starting to look and he's like, hey, man, club football is it. We missed it. Because the last World Cup, they really missed an opportunity. Because he was better than Hazard in that World Cup too. He should have been the captain that year. And Hazard, they finished third, but if he actually was the leader of the team, they would have done a lot better. Because then you had an old Lukaku this year coming on, looking washed up. The defenders are old and washed up. Like they don't have an identity because all those players were good 4 years ago, not now.
Right.
And so the world ranking thing is just a farce because they just kind of put stuff out there. So the criticism De Bruyne is getting is valid, but I think that's actually, as a City fan, is going to motivate him in the City season. Yep. I don't think it's going to do anything for Hazard because he's already gotten his money and he already knows his place at Madrid. So I think he's just going to continue to kind of like, does what he does. And Courtois, I'm actually concerned about him though, because he's an emotion-driven player. So when he was down for different periods, he stayed down there. And I don't think this World Cup is going to help him any. So he has to play well for the next one, or Madrid is going to have an issue going forward, I think.
Yeah. That definitely makes sense, but I think that at the end of the day, all of this kind of boils down to what you said in the pre-World Cup episode, and that we were chatting about it today. It's Martinez. It comes down to the decisions that Roberto Martinez has made pretty much since the loss to in the semifinal, and it wouldn't shock me, like we've been saying, to see something drastic. You think he could be sacked mid-tournament, Patrick, before the next game? Because they've been awful.
Oh, they've been terrible. They've been terrible. I don't think he would get sacked mid-tournament, but I do think, when we talked about on the last podcast about, tactical managers, and, you start to see, especially in a tournament like this, where that lack of technical or tactical prowess really kind of starts to show up. And I think that's what you're seeing now with Belgium. I mean, before it's sort of like we talked about with Southgate, he just throws out the team and it's like, don't tinker too much with it. Before, Martinez could do that, because they were all in their prime and that it's okay, just go. Now they're not. And I think we're starting to see that lack of coaching for sure. Because I'm telling you, they look so disoriented and disjointed on. I mean, it's sad to see, especially when you talk about De Bruyne and I mean Trossard came on. He did nothing. I mean, it was
a little bit of energy.
No, but he did have a little bit of energy. But I mean, there was really nothing that made you say like, okay, this is going to help. I mean, it was bad. And Thorgan Hazard was horrible. I was shocked at how bad he was. I thought he wouldn't be great, but I mean, he couldn't even play a 1-2 with his brother. I mean, it was bad.
I was surprised that he's in the starting lineup, to be honest.
Me too.
That's the manager. The funny thing is, and if we go back in the history of Martinez, if you look at every team he's managed, you've never seen growth. It's always been regression. So I don't understand. Maybe he has, like the secret photos of all the federation's leaders doing something scandalous, because I don't understand. The thing is, I don't wish for anyone to lose their job, but clearly he he needs to restart because I think he's been the manager for this team for 8 years now, and maybe 6. And they were for several different times. They were at least I know they were won once, but they've been in the top 5 every time he's been there based off the quality of players he's had, and he's produced nothing. And this is where you got this deflates the checkbook manager thing that happens, that you can give any manager a ton of money, you can give him all the talent. If he doesn't give them an actual plan or identity, then they are what they are. I just thought about the last Belgian team. They had Fellaini when he was still decent towards the tail end. So you had literally big strikers, you had good wingers, you had solid defenders who were all solid prime players at the time. Courtois was at his peak, and he blew a tournament with probably the best on paper team. So I'm while I don't wish for anyone to lose their job, I think a shock would be to let him go before the next game. And I think the players would wake up, because it looks like some of those guys don't even want to be there. And again, as a City fan, send De Bruyne home, give him 3 weeks rest. We good with that. We are good with that.
Yeah.
But but then you don't know how emotionally these guys are going to carry that. So I don't know. And I love the Southgate thing. Whenever we get there, I got some choice words for that guy too.
Yeah, absolutely. They're going to need to bring it because their next opponent absolutely smashed Canada today, and it makes me sad.
Yeah.
Makes me really sad. I thought right from the rip, I was like, oh, yeah, baby, here we go. 2 minutes in, they're already up 1-0 Canada. It's like, man. And then they legitimately, I thought that they immediately sat back, like almost immediately dropped off and sat back. And they're like, all right, we'll just try to hold on to this. It's almost like they scored too early.
See, I get frustrated, and that's not just a Canada thing, but you watch teams in club level even. They get a goal up, and then they set back, and it's like you're just inviting pressure. Like, I understand that you just don't want to, get beat on a counter or something like that, but, come on. You've got momentum. Roll with it. You never know what might happen, because that puts pressure on the other team to go and catch up with you now. And you watch it all the time, and you're like, why aren't they attacking? Like, why do you sit back and invite all this pressure? Because eventually they're going to break you down.
It's weird.
Do you think that playing the high pressure game like that, sometimes the coaches will say, we can't run like that for 90 minutes. So we'll run like that for this 10 minutes, and then we'll get a goal, and then we'll hold off for 10 minutes. Do you think there's some of that, or do you think it's a mentality thing where they're immediately like, all right, let's sit off now because we've got something to protect?
I think it's a mentality. You
I
think
agree.
It's tactical?
I think it's tactical, but it's the mentality. It's the mentality of the manager. Because again, and I use my reference because I've always been a big fan of the Dutch ball and how Pep does it. If City scores first, they're coming. They're not going to stop doing what they're doing. They want to beat you by 6. Like I coached on different levels up to college and D2, and my mentality was their job is to make us stop scoring. It's not my job to stop. So if we beat you by 10, so be it. And because you're going to face another team that won't have mercy either. And so you should always have that. And so another thing that I love, and I think I mentioned this to you guys before, I think Guardiola is going to become a national team manager. And I think that's something that they need, because when City goes down a goal, they're scarier when they go down a goal than when they start with one. They're scarier because they're coming down. And because you have 5 substitutions, that excuse of, oh, well, we can't run it that far. Who's running that? Because you can replace the 5 front players. What are you talking about?
Yeah, no, I agree with that completely. I think that there might be some of, let's maybe rest a bit, especially if you're, play for Spurs. But I agree 100% that it shouldn't be like that. I had to throw that in there.
Of course.
It shouldn't be like that. With the 5 subs rule, they should be gunning. And I think that's how City have played for years. It's not like a secret. It's not like some big, formula that nobody understands. And what's even more crazy to me is that more teams don't play with a super high press as often as they can. Is that City? If you put City under pressure like that, they'll crumble and give a goal. If you put Madrid under pressure like that, they'll crumble and give a goal. You put Arsenal under pressure like that, they'll crumble and give it doesn't matter. It does not matter who you are. If you high press like that, eventually you're going to get an opportunity. That's why Liverpool were able to hang so much last season. That's what Sadio Mane does. Is he's just in your face. That's why they were so good in the press and so good on the counter, and it's lethal. And when you're a team like City, who is not only lethal on the counter, but is also can pass you to death, can outpass you, outwork you. That's why they're so tough to beat. And I think that if teams in this tournament can emulate that in the World Cup, they'll run over everybody. They'll run over everyone
Well, I mean, that's
because
why everybody was all about Spain. I mean, they went out and they put up 7, and it's like, oh, Spain's favorites now. But as I mentioned in the previous podcast, like, I'm interested to see what Spain looks like against an opponent that is equal to them, and we saw it today. It was a draw.
They laid an egg today. But the funny thing is, and I agree with you, they laid an egg, but Germany looks really disjointed too. They don't look like they know what they want to do going forward either. And I mean, maybe it's because Jurgi Low is not there and he was more of the identity. But they just look like they brought Sane in on so late. And I mean, that's a change of pace. And when he came on, I mean, he made some definite moves going forward. And it just seemed like they were sitting and waiting to get set pieces. When I'm like, you are on par with Spain to go at them. And you know what, the thing that gets me is I can understand if this was the knockout rounds, but this is the group stage. Go for it. Like I don't get it, because if you don't go for it, then you go home. So you might as well go for it. That's where when people criticize football and they say, well, it's boring to see a draw or whatever and stuff like that. I get, I would support that, and I get that when you get a 0-0 where everyone looks like they're playing safe. But if you're going at each other and you get a 0-0, I'm with that, because you can't question the quality of the game. That means the keepers have been playing well. Everyone is defending on both sides, but they're also attacking. And that's beautiful football.
Post for goalkeeper versus Uruguay. The post was the 12th man in that 0-0. That was crazy.
Yeah.
But yeah, definitely. It's interesting that Thomas Mueller, I mean, I love Thomas Mueller, don't get me wrong. I love all the memes that are going around about him right now. Barcelona's going to pay for that next season. Gold. I love that stuff. The internet's crazy. But you could tell today that he's lost that speed. He's going to work. He definitely fought for the badge. He always does. That's who he is. But he's ancient. Just putting that out there. He is. And he's just slow. Like if Sane comes in, like you say, a lot earlier, I think they can be a bit more dynamic going forward. I mean, I love Serge Gnabry, former Arsenal man, way back in the day. We never should have let him go. It's I agree. It's a little bit surprising that that they looked like they scraped this one. They were in the ascendancy in the end and got the goal, but it still looks like a smash and grab just to stay in the tournament. And I think maybe they're underestimating Costa Rica, just like Japan did.
Well, the funny thing about Japan is Japan played completely different today too. I just didn't understand it. I'm like,
5 changes.
Like, go get them. Yeah. I'm confused by the tactics because, for example, and you and I text about this. I don't understand why you wouldn't put those young fire starter guys on first. Like, let them burn everything they have. So play Foden early, play Sane early, play all those guys early. So if you do have a lead or you do need to get something later on, you put experience on later, and then they'll be calm in the situation. They're doing everything in the reverse, which doesn't make sense to me. And so it's just weird because that's why we're getting the results we are.
Right. It's been 15 scoreless first halves.
Wow.
Rob Stone loves saying that on the Fox broadcast. He's like, it's my favorite stat. 15 of 20 games have been scoreless in the first half. That's not my favorite stat, Rob Stone.
No.
But yeah, I was baffled by the Costa Rica game this morning. I don't like, and it's not like they were prolific or showed up a whole lot more than they did against Spain. I mean, maybe Spain were just on one, but because Costa Rica, yeah, they blew the group wide open, and it's good to see. It's good to see that that one's still there to be won. I like that for sure. Um, but what about the night before? Good old Saturday night, I guess Saturday afternoon for us. The Argentina Mexico game was pretty awesome. It's pretty magical. Definitely was. I just feel bad. Like imagine, in your heart of hearts, even as I know it's the World Cup and you want to win, obviously, but in your heart of hearts, as a Mexico player, going out there trying to knock out Messi from his last World Cup, like there's got to be a little bit of you that's like, man, we're trying to kill off a legend here. We're trying, we're trying to end something magical that the world has been blessed to have for 20 years now, and we're trying to end it. There's a bit of me that I was talking with Brian. I was like, if Argentina see USA in like the quarterfinals, a little piece of me is gonna die when we beat Messi and send him out of the tournament.
There's a meme from wrestling where Shawn Michaels kicked Ric Flair in Ric Flair's retirement match, and he cried because he said he was sorry. I'm sorry, man. He gotta get kicked in the face, man. I don't care. You got to go home.
Yeah.
You got trophies. You're Messi. Hey, imagine what I become if I am the leader of the Mexican national team. And not only do I beat Messi, that propels us to a World Cup. Messi can kick rocks. I want to win the World Cup, man.
Yeah, I feel that.
I mean, Captain America, I need him to say I can do this all day after he sends Messi home. That's what I need that.
Absolutely. I think it's interesting to me that, yes, obviously Messi was the story. Obviously, that's what we're waiting for. And yes, he gets the goal. But the other goal was way better. Like
Yes.
Fernandez's goal was sick. Like that was gross. Like I'm like, oh, even Messi was probably going, oh, And that, I mean, I loved hearing the noise in that stadium from the whole time. It was deafening. And I figured it would be. I almost watched it on Telemundo just because I knew the energy and the passion from the Spanish commentary would be on another level. I almost did that, but I've watched half the tournament in Spanish at this point. It's helping me. It's definitely helping me. I'm learning some things, but yeah, I definitely love the commentators on there. Their passion is fantastic. But again, that's another group that it's still there. It's still there to be had because Saudi got the 3 points. Do we think they have a shot against Mexico?
I don't know. I mean, Mexico's got to go out and get it.
Yeah, for sure.
So I mean,
Do
Saudi
we
does
expect
too,
Argentina
but
to smash Poland?
Lewandowski finally got a goal in the World Cup.
Yeah, I mean,
and then he almost went and got a brace. So I mean, who knows what you're going to get there? But I mean, it's going to be weird not seeing Mexico in the knockouts. Like, I don't know. That group's fun. That group's fun.
Yeah.
Because I went Argentina, Mexico, and I still think somehow, some way that happens. But I'm telling you, Saudi Arabia, they still got it in front of them too.
The funny thing about that is Lewandowski assisted the first goal, and you could see how happy he was to assist that because at that point you could see he was about just winning the game. And so and it was funny because I think I mentioned to you guys before, I saw Argentina was a favorite, and I'm like, where? Like their defense is never been that great. So I'm like, you kind of need defenders to win the World Cup, and so I didn't see it, right? So they were just riding off the Messi hype train, which is a real train, and I agree with it. But would I be shocked if Poland beats them? No, I wouldn't be. Um, uh, do I think Argentina is going to go through? I think so. I also think Mexico will win their game as well because I think Mexico kind of laid down for that one. I think they laid down. because I mean, I have a Latina girlfriend, and she wanted Mexico to win, but she was rooting when it was Messi. He's likable. You just root
It
for him, you
really
know.
is. Yeah.
And so she was rooting for him, and people are rooting for this guy. And I think he doesn't go out until the knockouts, but I think that Argentina will advance, and I would say Mexico goes, but I think they laid down for that one. You'll see I think you'll see a better Mexico in the next game. Just tactically, I just felt like they played to their opponent. And I think they felt like that game was too big for them because Argentina wasn't that good defending. They should have scored some goals.
Yeah.
I don't know about that one. Now the one that got me was France looked both vulnerable, but Mbappe looked really scary. He looked really scary.
Well, I heard that Denmark had beaten France like the last 3 times they played.
Twice this year.
Yeah. So I mean that's a hurdle that France went out and conquered, and I think that's even a bigger step for them than what they did against Australia. You know, because I mean, yes, friendlies are different than, or even Nations League's different than the World Cup, but
Yep.
when a team's got your number, you know, it gets into you mentally too. And for them to go out and win it, and maybe not look the best in the process, but still go out and win it, that's a big deal.
Yeah, I think that France kind of have this. They seem to play the way Real Madrid play, and it's like again, it's a mentality thing for me. It's okay, we know we have the quality. We know, generally tactically what we're gonna do, but we can beat anybody. First of all, so we're gonna come here. We're gonna win this game, no matter what y'all do. And then you put whoever in front of them, and they're like, okay, this is how we win this game, and this is how we win this game. And so it's not like it's different from, say, Manchester City, who are going to play. You know what they're going to do. The way they approach games. France kind of it's the same way Madrid beat Chelsea. It's the same way Madrid beat City last season. They just they play like champions, and you do what it takes to win, and that's what France are doing right now. If you ask me, it's one of those things where Mbappe is like, you know what, we're just not going to lose this game, and I'm going to go ahead and sometimes you need a superstar like that just decides, you know what, we're not going to lose.
What's kind of funny is that in all the hype, I felt like no one was really talking about France, and I think Mbappe heard that, and Mbappe felt that because he looked real hungry yesterday, and I like that because it elevated the play of Griezmann, and I mean Giroud is just for France. Love that guy there. I think he has a big game the next game. I think he plays big the next one. And the funny thing is people don't realize how many goals you scored and how consistent he is. You put the ball up there, he won't, not a hair will move, and he'll still head the ball in because it's impeccable hair,
Mr.
and he's
TQ himself.
yeah, and he's impeccable in the box, and so I think that's good. And I saw there was a debate about France with Giroud and France with Benzema, and they've won all their major tournaments with Giroud in the team. So I look at that and say, while I wish Benzema was there because I mean, solid guy, wish he could play. I think they're still okay. You guys may remember my question was about missing Conte and Pogba, and they seem all right without him so far.
Oh yeah. I mean that's another team that's just ridiculously stacked. There's just depth for days. Kingsley Coman came on. He's like he could be a starter in half the teams in this tournament. Like just because he's France, he doesn't get in to the starting lineup. It's
Well, I gotta say about France, I think the thing that's really pushing them right now is Dembele. I mean, he's playing at another level right now. It's actually impressive to see because we've been waiting for that talent to really, come to the forefront. And it is now. And he's really made a mark on that team so far.
Well, so much so that they had to find a new place to put Griezmann.
Mm-hmm.
And I think it's worked magnificently in these 2 games at least. I think having Griezmann in that 10 role that doesn't really exist anymore.
Right.
Yeah, he's crushed it. And that's what he likes to do anyway. He loves that freedom to pop up in those little pockets. That's what Martin Odegaard's been doing for Arsenal all season, just kind of floating, pops up on both sides of the field. And because he's got Mbappe on one side like a gazelle and Dembele on the other side, and then the true target man, yeah, it's they're going to take some beating. And when I was watching that game, the thought came into my head. I've been doing all this research for the World Cup history videos. Only 2 teams ever repeated as champion, and one was fascist Mussolini, and we won't get into all that. But the other was Pele, and so it's easy to make comparisons. It's easy to make comparisons in the heat of the moment like that. But when Pele was 17, he scored 6 goals in his first tournament and won the cup. When Mbappe was 18, he scored 4 goals and won the cup. And then the next tournament, Mbappe's already got 3 more, and they've won 2 games. 6 goals, 2 games, 2 wins for France. And it's it's Tunisia next, isn't it?
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah. And they're gonna walk that game. They're gonna walk that one.
Yeah. So I think France right now are kind of quietly the team to beat.
I think so.
I agree. And the funny thing is we were, everybody was kind of thinking like, France. I mean, they're without this guy, and I don't know how this. I mean, I made mention of like how does their midfield, how do they play? Yeah, there's tons of talent. It's young, really hasn't played a lot together, but they just keep kicking. And I guess when you got the soon-to-be best player in the world, but once Ronaldo and Messi end up retiring or going to MLS, which is retirement anyways. But anyways, you're gonna have Mbappe, best player in the world at that point. You can see
young. He's 23.
Well, the funny thing is France is doing exactly what I said. Now that I think back to what I just said, I said play your young guys early, let them run and do what they need to do, and then bring the experience on later. And that's literally what they're doing.
Mm-hmm.
And so I think they are the team to beat, which I think is scary to think about because now they have a little bit of a chip because no one was really counting them. So that's scary to be the holders with the chip where no one respects you. And so, especially you got injuries and people are questioning things. So I think that becomes something that may propel them even further.
Yeah.
There's a world where we see there's a situation where we see a France-Argentina round of 16.
They would wipe them, man. I think they win by 3 goals.
It was a 4-3 in the last tournament in the quarterfinals.
Argentina can't defend. They can't defend.
So maybe it'll be another 4-3.
I think they can't defend, and France will keep going, and I love that part. What my issue is the Group B with Wales, England, USA, and that group just confuses me altogether because Wales getting smacked and the USA being limp and England actually just dropping the whole ball. So I don't really know about that.
How did the USA not beat Wales? That draw looks horrific after the Iran-Wales result. Like, not just the result, the performance too. I got up for all of them. I've watched all of them. Wales were poor, and that's being as nice as I could possibly be about it. And then just to end the game by kneeing someone in the face on a desperate last-ditch attempt, and then in comes the Leicester goalkeeper to save the day. And yeah, that's just rough. And it just, I mean, I was sitting there going, "This is a great result, perfect. This is perfect. Now USA, all we got to do is draw. We're fine." Puts it in so much jeopardy.
Well, you know what?
We should have won the England game too. Like,
exactly.
How do we not
over 90 minutes? Over 90 minutes, US was better than England. And I will admit, I was wrong. I said we were going to lose 3-1. What I saw out of that US team was not what I expected. I thought, I mean, we covered
Pulisic,
so well.
yeah, Pulisic looked good in that game as well. I really like the way he was playing. But yeah, it's also a condition of I think England, and it's not to insult the USA, but they play down because of their manager. Like Southgate got everything wrong in that game. Like
Mm.
everything was wrong. Now, again, my city bias is there. How do you not play Phil Foden at
I'm
all?
scared.
At all? You don't play Trent at all. You don't play any of these guys. I just don't get it, man.
I
I
guess
just
they
don't get
didn't
it.
play Trent because they were worried about defensive liability.
They wasn't scoring. So I mean,
Yeah,
get
we
some
can't score
goals.
goals. We can't score goals. So I mean, yeah, we if we could have, we would have won 3-0.
Mm-hmm.
But it looked like England's approach was to not lose. And it's indicated easily by the fact that Harry Maguire was the best man in an England shirt. That's not good.
Mm-mm.
You say that. I'll give Maguire some credit for being good in an England shirt. He's not been good for United. That is not good when he's the best player on the field for your team, especially
Yep.
when you Kane and Saka, and you should have had Foden. Bellingham was a ghost. He was
Oh yeah, he had
fantastic.
one run.
I mean, and I think there's a bit of both. I think USA definitely played really well. You know, all the way up to right in front of the net.
Yeah.
And I think Tyler Adams was an
Oh, he was amazing.
absolute monster. And I've been seeing it and saying it on this podcast all season long that he's an absolute stalwart. And I was saying before the tournament, I was like, please give him the armband because he's a machine. He's an absolute beast, and he proved it. And I think that I was talking to Brian about the fact that um, we should have more freedom going forward. I think Pulisic kind of feels that a bit too, because when you have somebody like that behind you, knowing that even if you're going to take a little bit more risk, a little bit more incisive of a pass, because even if he does get me, I can still get back because I know Adams is going to stop the play up behind me, and I think that's given us a lot more freedom going forward, but we still need to find somebody who can put it in the net.
So does the USA beat Iran? I don't know what team is going
Of
to
course.
show up. I don't
Yeah.
know what team shows up, man. I
Of
think
course
they
they-
should, but
They
I don't
have
know.
to. They have to. I mean, there's no playing down at this point. I
Look,
mean, you've got to
Jesus
go for it.
Pereira is about to get the crazy out of nowhere start and get a hat trick, and we dump him.
Wales got slapped, and we struggled there. I don't know, man. I'm
But
I'm
it
confused.
Because
goes
Wales
back
couldn't
to
win the
what we
second goal.
said in the beginning. It's what we said, what we were talking about in the beginning. The U.S. scored, and then they pulled back.
Yeah.
Like they should have just kept going at them. I mean, that's what's so frustrating about all of it. I mean, you watch the U.S. do it. You watch, uh, I mean, France doesn't do it. You know,
Canada definitely did it today. Scored a goal.
Canada did it today, and it
Ecuador
doesn't make any sense.
Mm-hmm.
It doesn't make any sense. But I mean, if you go back to that Wales game, and I really did feel like it was an opportunity missed because it was like, I mean, we dominated it. We should have put a second in the net. I mean, it should have been 3 points. This game, I mean, this is how bad Southgate is. Like, this is where we really saw how bad Southgate is. Our plan was to make sure that Declan Rice didn't get the ball. And he couldn't figure out a way to get him the ball. All we literally did was we compacted the center with our two strikers, or striker and attacking mid, whatever you want to call it. And that's all we did.
Yeah, because Henderson came on and he looked like he was a world beater. And he wasn't.
Yeah.
Well, that's my thing about Mason Mount, and I've been saying it about him at Chelsea all season, is that he's supposed to fill that floating number 10 center attacking mid role in the rotation of the. But he gets lost. He gets so totally lost in games when he doesn't, because he doesn't want to come really far back. He doesn't want to come into the Jude Bellingham territory. He doesn't want to come back farther than Declan Rice is to get the ball. But if you look at Argentina, Messi was living on the halfway line, trying to get the ball so he could dribble 3 people and make a little pass. No one in an England shirt was doing that.
Which confuses me why Foden didn't play, because I think the quote was Foden doesn't play in that position.
Yeah, that's exactly the quote.
Foden plays everywhere for City. What are you talking about? Like, he's literally a midfielder. The only reason he doesn't play in the middle is because De Bruyne and Gundogan are there. That's the only reason he doesn't play through the middle. Because when he does play, him and Bernardo Silva damn near play center halves and fullbacks. Just stick the boy on the field. I mean, and I don't have a problem with him starting Mount. Like, I don't care about that. But if you see he's not effective anymore, put the guy on who knows how to play the position. Like, it makes no sense. And Foden scores. Like, I don't get it. And the fact that he has synergy and chemistry. If you could have put Foden on, stuck him with Sterling, those guys have played together. He can play well with Kane because he plays with the big striker at Holland. Why would you not put him in the game? Like, it's like he didn't want to win. So I do question, even though I don't think it's going to happen, does England beat Wales? Like, I don't know. Because, like, if that's the tactics, well, I mean, all it takes is one dumb foul in the box on Bale and you lose the game. Because that's the only reason that Wales was in the game against the USA, is because the foul in the box was silly.
Especially when you think about the fact that Wales need a 4-goal victory. Wales can still progress, but they have to win by 4 goals. And they need USA to win in order to progress. And so do you think there's going to be an element of, oh, we're through. We're not going to lose 4-0. So, they don't come out and they don't play and they take like a 2-0.
Could see it. I mean, I think though that Wales is going to be so wide open to try to get there that Saka, Sterling, they'll put a couple behind, in the net, because they're just going to beat them straight up on speed. And going back to the U.S. England match, I was just blown away at how well Anthony Robinson and Dest even played. Everybody's talked about Dest being a defensive liability, and he
played well. Yeah,
he played well. I mean, he played really, really well. And I thought Musa was really good. Of course, Pulisic played well.
Musa was I thought he improved a lot.
Yeah. Weah played well. McKinney, I'm telling you, that first 30 minutes, he was on one.
He's got to score though, man.
He does.
He's got to find the boots. There he is. Whoa. That felt harsh.
I think he's muted. Is he muted? Yeah, he's muted.
He's muted, yeah.
Yeah, what's up?
There he is.
Yeah.
How awesome your 3 Lions were.
Oh, well. Hey, man.
He's cheering for England for some reason. Terrible. Y'all were not great at all. We were saying that maybe Southgate was scared of the USA. That's what the performance looks like. What do you think?
Yeah.
I think it was, I mean, just me, but I think they tossed us a hell of a bone. Had they won that game, had they come out gunning and put up 3, and it's the most televised soccer men's match ever in the United States, like, everything in the world, we're glad England didn't show up for that game, because it made America look decent. And had they handed that game, it makes the tournament hopes very slim.
Yeah, so. But England still hasn't beaten the U.S. in a World Cup.
That's true.
Still undefeated, baby.
I mean,
well, I saw there was a headline where it said U.S. wins 0-0.
Right.
Can you believe that that's the first 0-0 for the U.S. in a World Cup, though?
Wow, I didn't know that.
I did not know that.
Yeah, it's the first time that the U.S. had a 0-0 in a World Cup.
Nice.
Wow. Now, who confuses me is the Netherlands. They are the most confusing group of play. I don't understand what they're doing, and they are the originators of the tiki-taka move the ball, and I don't know what they're doing. I don't know. They confuse me.
Gakpo looks good though.
Well, their goal versus Ecuador was they won the ball 25 yards from goal. The guy who won it miscontrolled it. Gakpo picked it up and ripped one. and that's like the only goal they scored. I mean, that's not to take away from Ecuador. Ecuador have definitely shown up. If your name's Valencia, no, I'm just kidding. He's looked great. It's great. That's awesome to see. He's got the last 6 goals for Ecuador in a World Cup. That's pretty cool. But yeah, captain's kind of performance for him. But yeah, I'm with you. I figured the Dutch would be rolling over that group. I guess I'm more surprised by Ecuador than is it that Ecuador were that good in that game, or is that the Dutch are just all over the place? I guess.
Well, I think one thing that we're seeing, we talk about this team looks all over the place, this team looks disjointed. I think that's kind of the symptom of having this World Cup where we're having it.
Yes.
When you talk about the World Cup in the summer, they finish in May. They have it first to mid-June, late June to start, whatever it might be, and there's enough camp time for there to be some cohesion, and there's not, and you can see it in the play.
Yeah.
That's why I think that. That's why I'm confident. If USA make it out of the group, we can handle. I think USA can beat the Dutch. I think we can beat Ecuador, and I think we can beat Senegal. So I don't think it matters, to be honest with you. Obviously, we'd rather see that's what Chelsea's been doing all season.
Pretty much.
Yeah.
Well, real quick before I go, because I got to make sure we did Messi, so I got to say something about Ronaldo, and it was amazing that potential gaff that almost ruined the game for them at the end was amazing. I'm just it was the quickest loss of concentration, and I'm blown away that happened. They got saved, but Portugal looked kind of shaky
How does
too.
my man trip? How does he slip? The biggest moment of his career. He's about to get one. He's about to sneak one for the draw, and he slips. Oh, man.
Nightmares. Nightmares made out of it.
I couldn't believe it, man. About to embarrass Portugal after they con the referee to win the game.
Yeah, the officiating has been kind of sketchy too. That's been something else.
Yeah.
I've seen 1 or 2 games where it was all right. Astonishingly, Michael Oliver, of all people, had a good game today. I haven't said that all season, and he had a good game. What game was that he officiated this morning? It was the second match, the Morocco-Belgium. I thought that he did well in that game, and I was surprised. I was like, oh, am I seeing that right? That's Michael Oliver. Right.
Hey man, it's just been a thing, man. It's been a thing. But what about Neymar? Is Neymar going to play? Because
he's out for the rest of the group.
Not the rest of the group.
It's like a week and a half, they said. So
yeah, I saw his ankle. It was giant. I was like,
he won't play tomorrow. That's for sure.
Yeah,
he's playing tomorrow. That's for
him
sure.
And Danilo are I think out until knockouts.
That don't matter.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
They're playing Switzerland and then Cameroon.
Brazil's got the depth. No, Brazil's got the depth too. It's not like they could lose Neymar completely and be fine.
There's a new Arnold, so
yeah.
Come on, okay.
And one last confusing point is Uruguay. They seem they're confusing to me too. I'm confused.
Them as well.
Yeah, I wish more. Now I think Serbia will come back and recover because I think they have a pretty decent group of guys. But Uruguay confused me because I don't really see a whole lot coming from them. And they play Portugal next. Is that right?
Yes, that's so. Smart. Yeah. I'm looking forward to the Uruguay-Ghana rematch.
Yeah, it's good.
Talk about a grudge match, bro. Ghana's been waiting years. Ghana's been waiting 12 years for that revenge.
They might get it. I mean, they was getting goals.
Luis Suarez might get on the field. I don't know if they want to put Luis Suarez on the field. Basketball Gian traveled with the team. If he made Qatar with the team, it's not going to be good.
Oh man.
But Uruguay have the giant pirates up top. Edson Cavani looks like a pirate for me.
He does. He does.
But Darwin Nunez, they both look the same. They're both these huge
Giants.
trees. They're just really thin trees up there.
Giants.
The same kind of player.
The funny thing about Cavani is that he has that symptom where he's really good in league, and then when it comes to Uruguay, and I think it's because of the shadow of Suarez that he struggles, and because he doesn't get, I don't think he gets to play in his natural position because Suarez is there.
Yeah.
And Nunez, I think, just while he's a good player, I think he's being thrown on bigger and bigger stages over and over, and he doesn't seem to be ready for him. I think he's a good player, but I don't think he doesn't seem ready. And I'm hoping he does come out maybe after this season because I need Liverpool to stay trash. But I do hope that he finds it because he looks like he's a really quality guy.
Not yet.
I don't know. Yeah, I mean, there might be a little bit of that. I mean, and then to be thrown into, okay, replace Mane. You have to replace Sadio Mane now.
Yeah.
Oh, now. Oh,
Yeah.
good. Yeah, let me get a red
And
card.
he's just not. Yeah, and he's just not that flyer Mane is either. So you have to. Liverpool has to completely change that front to support Darwin.
But how does he fit it? Like when they put Cavani on in the same team as Nunez, like how do they're the same guy trying to
but just
space.
I mean,
But Suarez should be in back in Montevideo if it's me. He looks, I gotta say it, he looks like Ronaldo 2006. He looks fat.
Yeah.
Slow.
Yeah.
I was thoroughly unimpressed.
Well, it's similar to my point about Hazard, where just he shouldn't be Hazard shouldn't be the Belgian captain. Suarez shouldn't be on the Uruguay team. It's just we're holding on to legacies that are stopping you from getting your moment, and I think that causes a problem for them going forward. But gentlemen, I have to get ready to get off. It's always great. I look forward to the next one. I love to hear your commentary. It makes me think. Y'all have an awesome night.
Absolutely, man.
Yeah, you too, man.
Later. I do want to get into one thing. Did you get a close look up at the penalty for Ronaldo? Because I read an article where the guy's opinion was that Ronaldo is a genius for having conned the referee so well. He's saying that forwards have figured out what refs are going to call. And, I mean, for me, the defender gets, he brushes Ronaldo's foot. And then right after Ronaldo gets a tiny touch, he gets a touch on the ball. A big touch on the ball. And for me, it's a clean challenge.
Yeah.
That's rough. That's rough, man. Yeah.
Well, it's just that forwards are always have always done that. They're always moving towards what the ref's going to call, what they're not going to call, and they're going to play to it. And say what you will, Ronaldo's a pure forward. Like he's going to figure it out. He's going to do it, especially during this tournament. Especially now that he's pretty much performing for a job. He's going to do what anything it takes. Yeah, it does not. There is nothing that's beneath.
I think there's some cracks there in that Portugal team, though. They have a hell of a squad. But did you notice, and I think I commented to you, and I got a little fired up about it. I may have said something to you about it too, Patrick, that when they couldn't get past Ghana, because I'm looking at the thing here, the penalty was in the 65th minute. So it was 0-0 to the 65th minute. They couldn't get past them. They started diving.
Yeah.
Flopping all over. Man, João Felix and Bruno Fernandes were having a competition to see who could flop the hardest.
Who could sell one the best?
I really got upset about it.
Yeah.
I couldn't. I was like, man, y'all are. That was terrible. Even my brother, who doesn't even watch soccer, we were on the FaceTime because of Thanksgiving or whatever, and even Mac was like, "Yo, what are they doing? They're just flopping around like rag dolls." And I was like, "Yeah, that's Portugal for you, I guess."
Anything they can get,
Which is ridiculous. Rafa Leal comes on and 3 minutes later wins the game. Where's he been? He should have started over João Felix for me. I mean, Felix got a goal as well, but I think that's more to do with it goes right through the defender's legs, and he's got a breakaway.
Capitalizing on a mistake more than so than creating.
Yeah, but I think that group is spicy, and they're
Oh yeah.
playing tomorrow. They're always overshadowed because they're on the same day as Brazil. But and obviously, if you're not playing against Portugal, but I thought South Korea were good too. So I think South Korea Ghana is going to be a
South
good
Korea
game.
is hard. Yeah.
I think Uruguay Portugal is going to be a good game.
Yeah.
Absolutely. How badly are Brazil going to roll at Switzerland?
Oof. It's it could be bad.
I mean, it don't matter. It don't matter who comes in.
No.
Yeah.
I'm saying it could be bad for the Swiss.
Like, is it Richarlison, Vinny, Rafinha?
Yeah, since Neymar's hurt. Yeah.
Yeah.
Or is it? I mean, and then your backups are Rodrigo, Jesus, and Martinelli.
Yeah. Right.
And Anthony.
And
And
Anthony.
Anthony. Oh my God. With all of that being said, though, I thought in the Serbia game, and Xavier will know that I hate Casemiro, and I think I've said like 4 times this season he just looks old, but I thought he had a monster game,
Oh yeah.
monster game in there, winning all the second balls because
Filling up space, right?
Serbia is trying to play just like Fulham because of Mitrovic, which makes total sense, but Casemiro was just eating it up the whole time. And I mean, I just don't see what Switzerland are going to have. I fancy Cameroon versus Brazil more than I do Switzerland because Cameroon come with the passion, energy,
Right.
And that's what I think is going to make him tough against Serbia. That's going to be a tough game, Serbia Cameroon. Again, overshadowed by all the other stuff going on tomorrow, but I definitely think that's going to be a good one. Who you got?
Yeah. First, right in the rip. Serbia.
Yeah.
I'm gonna go Cameroon.
Wow.
It's I think that Cameroon can have some joy, especially if you can shut down Mitrovic.
Yeah.
I think you'll have some joy. But as they showed against Switzerland, they can't really break down a block. And that's all Switzerland did. They're like, oh, we'll just score, and then you can't break us down.
Ooh. They both need it though.
That's the thing.
Yeah.
That's the thing. They both lost. So
They
who's
both need it. Let's go home after that.
oh.
Yeah.
But you'd assume that Brazil are going to smash. So
Right.
you'd rather be Serbia than Cameroon.
Yeah.
I've already played Brazil.
Yeah.
Already played them. Yeah.
But then there's the element of, like I was saying before you got on, X, do you think that Southgate will have the mentality that we're never going to lose 4-0? So he might change the squad. He might rest some people.
Right.
And then maybe Wales will come with the energy and win 2-0 and win 1-0 or something like that. And Southgate will be okay with that. Do you think if Brazil smash Switzerland, that Cameroon might have a shot at it if they can win tomorrow, and then Brazil will be a bit lax? Or do you think Brazil's backups, just like Grealish and Foden and Callum Wilson, is still a starting lineup for other teams?
Right, it's still a squad. Yeah, no, I would I don't know, man. I think the Cameroon and Serbia, the worst case scenario is a draw and Switzerland don't get smashed. And I don't know. That's a spicy group after this, yeah. That's a huge game. Holy cow.
Yeah, it is. But then I think it really comes down to Switzerland Serbia on the third day.
On the third.
Yeah. I mean, obviously Cameroon are going to have to get a result, but suppose Cameroon wins. And that would mean Serbia are out, wouldn't it?
Yep. So yeah, it would just be between Switzerland and
The
Cameroon.
most jeopardy would be a Serbia-Cameroon tie.
Right. That'd be
give it the most jeopardy. Which there's only 2 nations knocked out.
right.
Sadly, Canada's one of them. But the other is the worst host in history.
Yes.
Not like the tournament's been poorly hosted. I personally think that amidst all the crap, the tournament has gone well.
The games have gone well, yes.
Yeah.
People, the crowd seem to be enjoying the games while they're in there. There's an energy to the stadiums and stuff. And I will say this: the stadiums are quite beautiful. Like they did a good job building. Like they are aesthetically pleasing. Like I do like them.
Except for the one built of containers.
Except for the the
974.
the
Stadium
Lego.
974
Yeah.
because there's 974 stadiums.
I thought that was how many migrant
Lego
workers that died there. Honestly.
Oh, that might have been what it first was, and they're like, you know what? Let's
You know
change
what?
that.
We're gonna change that. Yeah, we're gonna change that.
No, yeah, but I honestly expected a bit more from Qatar. They looked a little bit better versus Senegal, but
Well, we talked about it the first one about Qatar, and I thought I was high on Qatar, and I heard a stat the other day that in the Gold Cup, they had the most goals. They had 13 goals. In the Gold Cup in 2019, and I mean, you watch them now, and they're just nothing to
whole
them.
nother level though. This is another stage, man.
Well, right, I understand that, but I mean, they just are. They're terrible. They're not even close.
Here's another thing I love about the World Cup is that you see contrasting styles that you don't see. It's like the Korea Uruguay game. The style was so different, so vastly different. It's like when African teams play European teams. It's the way Morocco approached the Belgium game. Yeah, I think that Qatar maybe I think that they were not used to seeing different, styles in two different games. Senegal and Ecuador are wholly different teams, and so Qatar maybe their players are used to playing, the style that they play, playing against the style that they play, and so to see, and then they're not going to have anything versus the Netherlands.
Oh no, they should get smashed.
No, yeah, I think it'll be an easy day for the Netherlands.
They need it too. It's still in
Yeah.
jeopardy. So
Came at a good time.
yeah,
I thought Senegal looked really good, though. I mean, it was Qatar, but I thought Senegal looked really good. We had questions about how they're going to score, putting 3 in, pretty good.
yeah. At least somebody's doing it.
Yeah.
Who do you think that man's going to be for USA on Tuesday? Because we got to have somebody.
I don't know. You know me. I don't know where we're going to get a goal from.
You think Jesus Ferreira sees the field?
Oh, yeah.
He's got the experience in qualifiers.
Yeah, I can see it.
But Berhalter seems to like sticking with what he's doing.
That's so Southgate of him. That's why they're best of friends.
Oh, my goodness. Oh, man.
Yeah.
Well, here's the thing. If England do come out and lay an egg because they're already through.
Already through.
And Wales wins, and then USA wins, that means USA win the group, and England are in second place, possibly playing Holland, because it's essentially a goal difference. If Ecuador beats Senegal, it's a goal difference shootout.
Oh.
Yeah. So whoever wins by more goals, Ecuador or Holland, that's who will be first.
That's who wins the group, right? And that's who will play the second place in our group.
But if Senegal win, and Holland has to win the group.
Honestly, as England, I would rather see the Dutch. I'm more worried about
about
the firepower that squad can produce on. Yes, I love Valverde. I think Nunez is a monster. I think Cavani still got it in him. Yeah.
Cavani plays for Uruguay, dude. That's the other side of the bracket. We're talking about round of 16.
No, yeah.
Talking about the very next game, supposing we both advance.
Yeah.
I think I like USA's chances.
Yeah.
I do. But how awful would it be if USA have a glory next 2 games and we beat whoever and then it's France?
Oh, God. Hey, we beat them the last time we played them, right?
Or Argentina.
Yeah.
That's the
Yeah.
thing, though. It's the
Tough
World Cup.
road.
It's the
Anything
World
happens at that point.
If you're gonna win the World Cup, you're gonna have to beat Argentina or Germany or Brazil. It
Or
just is.
Brazil.
It just
Or
is what it is.
France, or
Or France. Yeah. I mean, it is. It is what it is. Well, I mean, historically, Brazil has made 12 semifinals. No, 11. Brazil has made 11 of 21 semifinals. Germany has made 12 of 21 semifinals.
They won't do it this year.
Argentina's made a few semifinals, 4 finals, I think.
wow.
Yeah, they lost. They went back to the final in 1990. After Maradona won in '86, they were back in the final in 1990, and then Curse of the Holders started
Yeah.
until France.
Till France. Yeah, France.
France.
Man.
So yeah, we were talking about that too, about back-to-back champions. I think France have what it takes.
Yeah.
I think they do. They play like Madrid, man. I was mentioning that earlier. They just show up to win because that's what we do, and we're gonna win the game.
And we're gonna win the game. I mean,
I mean,
they
yeah,
haven't. They're gonna have an easy. They're gonna have an easy. What is that? Friday, Wednesday.
Yeah, against Tunisia.
Yeah, they're gonna roll. Who's that? Tunisia.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I
They're
mean,
gonna have an easy
there's
Wednesday.
still jeopardy for Tunisia. Tunisia aren't out of the tournament, so they may bring it and surprise France and score a goal and then give 5.
Yeah, exactly.
And they, yeah.
And then give up 5 goals after that, and Mbappe has already won the Golden Boot.
Yep.
Good grief. Oh man, well, I think that about does it. Let's see what's up tomorrow.
Tomorrow we've got
Big ones.
Cameroon, Serbia,
Big ones.
South Korea, Ghana, Brazil, Switzerland, and Portugal, Uruguay. And
I love
then,
that still in jeopardy. I love that.
yeah.
That we're gonna go into these third games. Hopefully, hopefully Serbia wins.
Right.
Or maybe that's a draw, and then the third game will still be in jeopardy. And
That's worst case scenario for both of them, I believe.
is it mean of me to hope that Uruguay beats Portugal? I can't, man. When you start flopping around and diving like the Portuguese do, it really gets under my skin.
Yeah.
Yeah, but
Well, I wanted to say before we leave, I get all excited about the World Cup, especially those first matches, because you're like, okay, this is the World Cup. But I really have found the second group days to be the most fun, because, you have a team that maybe got a draw the first time out, and they're like, okay, we need to go get 3 now. And you see that level just ratchet up even more.
You definitely saw it in this tournament. I will say that a lot more. Where some of those second day matchups were, oh yeah, this is going to be not what you expected.
Germany is the only matchup of former champions in the group stage.
Wow.
But it was day 2. It was a great game. Great game.
I mean, they had to take something away from it, or they were going home.
Yep.
I mean, statistically, no, because Costa Rica won. They blew the group open, and they could still win with a gigantic goal difference overturning.
Yeah. I see.
But the draw, that's why the draw was massive for Germany. It makes it makes a big difference going into that third game, which Costa Rica are going to be bolstered. What a story that would be. Took a 7-0 and then won your next 2 games to go through.
Hey, we got Keylor Navas in goal. You never know what might happen.
Like I say, it's in jeopardy. It's in jeopardy. So I did want to mention one thing I've been thinking about, because I've heard a bunch of people say that they've boycotted the World Cup. They haven't even watched. Some of the television channels in certain places have refused to play the tournament, stuff like that.
Wow.
And I thought about something that made me, I'm glad that I haven't done that. I thought about it. a while back, but I'm really glad that I haven't, because for me, the players cannot help that all this is going on.
Yep.
And it's still a World Cup, and the World Cup changes people's lives. It changes so many different people's lives. And yes, it affects people's lives negatively as well, sure. But for the players, like the pedigree you can attain
Right.
just from
Right.
you can literally come from no one,
Yep.
have a tournament, and you've just signed the
And be
contract.
worth
Like,
right.
and
And
you've
be
just
worth
fed
$100
your
million.
grandchildren. You know what I mean?
Yeah, be
Like,
worth $100 million. Yeah.
It's that's why this tournament is so special, and it's the Robert Lewandowski scores a goal, and they're in the 87th minute to seal it. They're already winning, and he scores, and he's tears streaming down his face, and
Right.
and it wasn't even like we would have scored that goal.
Yeah.
You know, even the
Right.
ball, and
Straight
he just
FIFA
got to
goal.
roll it in past the keeper.
Straight FIFA goal. Yeah.
It wasn't like he came in and scored 5 goals for Bayern Munich in 14 minutes.
Comes
Like,
off the bench. Yeah, comes off the bench and hits 7. Yeah.
but still streaming down your
Right.
face, you know.
Well, I mean, it's what
stories like that it's
as
like
a
Gabby Jesus. I saw a post that said during the 2014 World Cup, Gabriel Jesus was like painting the street with spray paint and stuff in support of the tournament, in support of the team and stuff like that. And then, 8 years later, he's won however many trophies, and he's gotten on the field in a World Cup for Brazil. Like it's those kinds of stories. It's the way it changes people's lives. And I feel that supporting the tournament for that reason is a good enough reason to support the players. And especially when you think about from a pure fan standpoint, we support these guys week in and week out as far as the club teams. And the Premier League has however much representation in the tournament, and we watch these guys and we tie our emotions to these players, to their success, to the club's success,
100%.
even more so at the World Cup. And so, yeah, when England's not playing USA, I'm supporting, obviously I'm supporting every Arsenal player. Love to see Thomas Partey doing good, and Jesus gets on, Martinelli gets his first cap. It's bringing tears to my eyes, kind of stuff like that. And so supporting these guys, I think, is definitely a reason to kind of, you have to look past some things. But I think the fact that they can't help that all that's going on,
It's not like they get to vote, right? It's not like they all get together and go, "Hey, which country do y'all want to play the World Cup in this year?" Or like it's not like that. It's completely over their heads, and it's like Eden Hazard said it best. Like, we're here to play a game for the world. We're not here to make political statements. We're not here to talk about governments. We're here to put on the biggest show in the entire world. Like, that's what we're here to do. And it goes without saying, like, Germany doing what they did and then taking the taking the fat L afterward. It's just, there was that, all the time and place for that was years ago. It was 4 years ago when this was all
could have been changed. Yeah, absolutely.
changed. Like, we had a problem with it. That's when y'all should have got together as FAs and football associations and country, and that's when y'all should have got together and said, no, we're not. If you host it there won't be a national German squad at the World Cup. If you host it there won't be a national. All right, you can host it there, but there'll only be 5 teams who show up who are okay with.
There's precedent for that in the World Cup, and that's what it would have taken.
Yeah.
Right. And since that didn't happen, now the time and place is gone. You're here to put on a show. And to your point, like you're saying, you can make somebody like Richarlison already has a pro career. He's a pretty big name, but he gained 4 million followers in a single hour after his goal.
Wow, that's insane.
Oh my god!
After his goal, it was his Instagram or his Twitter or something. 4 million by the time the game.
You know why that's so huge in today's day and age? Look at all the ads that Christian Pulisic is doing.
Yep.
Look at all the crap that he's in, all the commercials he's in for Fox and stuff like that.
How Ronaldo makes his money.
Richarlison is about to receive all kinds of offers.
Yeah.
All kinds of stuff.
Yep.
Well,
just from the one performance.
Mario Götze's shoe. They will pay you for your shoes. They'll pay him for his shin guards. Like, somebody in Brazil will be like, yo, I want those.
If I was in Qatar, I would be like on the low, trying to run into the stadium, onto the field after the games, and collect as many of the jerseys as I could.
Oh,
Just
yeah.
on the low, pretend I'm the
jersey guy.
the laundry guy. Put on a bib and run around. Oh, I got you, man. I'll wash that for you. I got you. I'll wash that for you. And
all those are coming home.
Sell those.
All those
That's
are coming home.
living right there.
Yeah.
Well, I think just to kind of add on to your point, as fans of club teams, we have that passion for the club, right? But you see these players, they don't have that passion. Their passion is for their country, and we're actually seeing that passion every time out. And I think that's what makes the World Cup so strong, because you see, like, there's going to be somebody that stands out. I mean, Tyler Adams is standing out like crazy right now for the U.S. At a club level, he's been good, but he hasn't been at that level to where it's like, wow, and I think that's what makes it so. It makes it, you want to not only pull for those guys, but also you actually see it. Like, you see where this is a guy who at the age of 4 was thinking about scoring a World Cup goal. Robert Lewandowski is perfect example of it. He's gone to all these World Cups. He's never scored a goal. He finally scored a goal, and it was like his childhood dream was realized. And it's pure. It's beautiful. We talk about the beautiful game, and it is, but that's even more beautiful, just to see that raw emotion, that dream being fulfilled.
Yep.
How many guys have you seen score the goal and immediately just start kissing the badge?
Yeah.
And
right.
that's why I won't miss a moment.
Right.
Not a second of the tournament will I miss, because it's magic. It's just to be a part of it from the couch.
From the couch, yeah, exactly.
It gives me chills to sometimes to look at the guys for Spain, who, even Sergi Busquets, you can see it. He's played how many times in the World Cup for Spain? He's still got that emotion during the national anthem.
Mm-hmm.
To see people, because I know if I was wearing this shirt on the field in the World Cup and the national anthem was playing, I would be bawling my eyes out. Screaming the national anthem at the top of my lungs. Bawling. Yeah. Like, just.
Well, I love Gigi Buffon. I'm telling you, when that Italy national anthem plays, he's belting it out. I mean, and that's that passion. You look at club level, and club level, kind of the whole idea of club level is mercenaries. No, there's nobody playing for the club. They're playing for themselves. This, that. They're playing for the money. They're playing for their country, and it's beautiful. I mean, I think who was it, Embolo, who scored for Switzerland, like, he didn't want to celebrate because he scored against his country. He had that respect, and I think that's just, again, it's just so beautiful and pure, and I think that's what makes people coming back. And yeah, the political side of things is frustrating. I've watched 2 or 3 documentaries about this World Cup, and unfortunately the treatment of migrant workers and the corruption and all that. And I was telling a friend, I feel guilty a little bit, watching this. But I also know that what I'm watching is not to make Qatar look good. I'm watching these guys live out their dreams.
Qatar have looked bad enough already.
Yeah, they've looked bad enough.
Yeah.
But but seeing, what if Messi goes and wins the World Cup? I mean,
wouldn't miss it for the world.
It would be insane.
As a soccer fan, as a fan of the game, you can't miss that moment.
No.
Possibly the greatest player ever, arguably the greatest of our generation. You don't want to miss that kind of thing. That's why I'll go watch it. That's why when Messi was playing for Barcelona, I would catch El Clasicos. I didn't follow La Liga that much, and I would watch Messi highlights.
Watch it, yeah.
You watch El Clasico. When Messi was playing, because it's one of those things where that passion that we love to see again.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's I mean, at the end of the day, that's where this whole podcast comes from, is that passion, because those are the players that we love. I mean, Messi plays with that kind of passion, and he's got to be the most beloved athlete ever that there's ever been. When he scored that goal, man, I'm sure there was an earthquake. There had to have been
In Argentina,
dude. Well, in the stadium, man. Even the Mexico fans were like, ah, yeah,
It's messy, exactly.
yeah. It's like there were people. I mean, they were strolling through the stands. People are crying. Like it's. I mean, it's. I just want to be in that. I want to be a part of that. I want to.
We get to 4 years.
Yeah, but will Messi be lifting a trophy in 4 years? No, but Captain America will, baby. Let's go. No, I've actually heard some people say that this team is young, and if they can all stay together and avoid horrific injuries, we might have a really mean team. Especially if we can find somebody that can score in the next 4 years.
Yeah, we just need somebody that can put the ball in the back of the net. Yeah. In the next 2 days, let's find somebody that can score.
Right. We'll just
coach, I can score goals.
Out of the 300 million of us, you'd think we'd have a Kylian Mbappe somewhere. Like,
we do. They play football
in the
and
NBA.
basketball.
Yeah, exactly. Imagine
if LeBron James was a soccer.
I mean, I watch college football.
He gave Drogba status on that.
Yeah, exactly. I watch college football, and there's a running back at Texas named Bijan Robinson, and I was watching the game. I think it was Friday, and you watch his feet and the way his feet move, and you're like, oh my gosh, he'd be an incredible soccer player. I mean, he's just so quick on his feet, and it's like, but he's gonna go play football, and he's gonna make $50 million over the next 3 years after he graduates or after he enters the draft, and it's like,
they're not matching that in the MLS. They're just not even close to that MLS. It's unfortunate.
Speaking of MLS, I read that Inter Miami is going to bring Sergio Busquets and Messi into the league, and maybe even Luis Suarez.
Fox loved announcing that, and Cesc Fabregas. Fox.
You really think Messi's going to go to Inter Miami?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, the way that they were talking on the broadcast today, I don't know if you watched the in-between stuff today. Fox was pumped. The people at Fox were pumped up, dude. Ooh, reports out from Talk Sport, the worst tabloid in the world, that Messi's going to sign with Inter Milan. David Beckham is this close to getting it, I think that'd be
PSG.
I think that'd be magnificent, man. We're going to Charlotte when Miami comes to town.
Oh yeah.
Duh.
Stadium will be sold out again.
Yeah. We're gate crashing if we have to. Like, we'll get in there for that. I mean, come on. Of course.
Messi.
Of course Messi's going to come to America. That's the thing about coming to America. People are like, oh, it's the retirement league. Maybe there's a bit of that, but professional sports these days are about making money.
Mm-hmm.
It's about money. How much in Miami too? In Miami, how much money are they about to explode into from Inter Miami Leo Messi jerseys?
Yeah.
Why do you think Boldy wanted to bring Ronaldo to Chelsea?
Will bring Ronaldo to Chelsea.
I hope not.
Rumor is they've cooled off their interest.
We can't afford what that Saudi club has offered him.
It's only
He'll never go anywhere. He'll never go there.
How do you turn that down, though? That's my point about
$252 million.
How do you turn that much money down?
He's going to turn it down because they're not going to play European soccer. If this is all about his legacy, if what he's preached in the last 5 years with this whole Manchester United thing, it's about his legacy. He won't go to the Saudi because, bro, he won't. That would be such a bad move on his part.
Yeah, who knows? We'll see.
Such a bad move.
Anyway, we are going to have to it's getting we're almost at an hour and a half, so we're gonna go ahead and cut it off. But yeah, it's been a good one. We'll definitely do some more before the World Cup is over. I'll let you guys know when that is.
Sounds good.
We'll definitely have to do one at the end of groups.
Oh,
Yes.
Or maybe before the final group day, see if the spicy.
Well, tomorrow's the final group day.
Tomorrow is the last day of 5 a.m.s. It's the last day too.
Yes.
So the
Well, yeah,
day-
tomorrow. Yeah, last day too. So final group day is Friday.
Yeah.
Yeah, because knockouts start Saturday.
Yep.
So yeah, sometime at the end of the week, maybe Thursday again, right before the last day, or
Sounds good.
yeah.
All right, man.
All right, well, this
I'm
has been the For the Badge podcast. Be sure to hit the like button, subscribe to the channel, hit that little bell for the notification for the next one. And I'm enjoying the World Cup. Hope you are. Have a good night.